On air, online, on your side. You're watching KGUN 9 News at 5.
El Tour de Tucson is just over a week away, and with riders fitting in last-minute training sessions, safety is key for drivers and for cyclists. We hear from a widow here in Tucson who says she wants everyone to pay more attention so no one else has to go through what she did.
Plus, several races in our state are too close to call, and it could impact the balance of power in our country. Why we may have final results, we may not know them for several days yet. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pat Paris.
And I'm Heidi Alaga.
Now, votes, I should say, are still being counted, with several major races in Arizona neck and neck, leaving voters eagerly awaiting those results.
That is very true. Let's take a look at why it's taking so long. Well, the biggest delay is the simple number of ballots in Maricopa County that still need to be counted. The latest estimates by election officials show about 400,000 ballots still need to be counted. And that is the latest information there. With major races separated by just a few thousand votes, it's still anyone's race.
That's exactly right. We're going to show you some numbers now here with our exclusive mapping, and you can see in the governor's race, which is obviously a key one, not only for Arizona, but they're watching it all over the nation. You see now almost a dead heat. We're looking at a difference between Kari Lake and Katie Hobbs of under 4,000 votes now, with 67% of the vote counted and in. Remember, those 4,000 votes in Maricopa County. There's still 1,000 votes here in Pima County, all totaled. 100,000 votes in Pima County. All total, there are about 600,000 outstanding votes in the state of Arizona. Now we're going to go to Senate, and in the Senate race, it is Mark Kelly still maintaining that lead on Blake Masters. But remember, last night when we were with you, that lead was up to 18%, now down to a 4% lead at 83,000 votes, the only difference between Blake Masters and Mark Kelly. We're going to go to some of the statewide races right now. We're going to look at Secretary of State in that race. It is Adrian Fontes over Mark Finchem right now, maintaining about that 4% lead, 77,000 vote difference. Attorney General wise, now we're starting to see that Abe Hamadeh has taken a much bigger lead, now about 4,000, nearly 4,000 votes difference between Hamadeh and Mays. So that is an interesting race. It seems like Hamadeh is now picking up a little bit of steam in that battle for that office. And now we're going to go to the U.S. House, and we're going to go to CD6 real quick. It is Juan Ciscomani with a 52% to 48% over Kirsten Engel. That's almost a 9,500 vote difference for Juan Ciscomani, the Republican right now. And you see this redrawn district. Right now, he has the lead. Again, the votes that are outstanding right now in Maricopa County, those 400,000 votes, day of voting tend to lean a little bit more towards the right, towards the Republicans. We'll have to see if that continues when they come in, Heidi.
All right, Pat. Well, after an election, there's often a lot of effort to learn which groups had strong turnouts and how to appeal to that group in future elections. There are signs in this midterm that young voters turned out in unusually high numbers. KGUN 9 on your side's Craig Smith has been exploring that issue on the U of A campus. He joins us live from there right now. Hey there, Craig.
You know, this is usually a very busy place full of potential voters, and organizations work hard to get them to actually use those votes. It's often assumed young voters are less likely to vote than older citizens, but people who track voting behavior say young voters may have been an important force in this latest midterm. Alex Kack is with Next Gen America, an organization that works to get young citizens registered to vote and casting that vote.
Obviously, there's a lot of races here in Arizona that haven't quite been called yet, but I think what we do know, just looking at the demographic returns, we saw that young people in this state and in every other swing state, and really just around this nation, turned out yesterday, and they made their voices heard, and in larger numbers than we are often used to seeing in a midterm election.
Now, students we asked said issues like affordable education, healthcare, and abortion motivated them to use their vote. Now, young voters share interest in issues usually connected to older people too, like Social Security, maybe for the benefit of their parents or their grandparents, or because they want to be assured that that service will be available when they need it years in the future. Reporting live, Craig Smith, KGUN 9 on your side.
All right, Craig, thank you. Poll workers are making sure every vote is counted. That job is no easy task.
Pima County may be counting until next week, while statewide results won't be official for several weeks. We spoke with an observer in the tabulation room to see how this election is going and when we can expect the final results.
The issues that I understand have to do primarily with duplicate ballots, and that's ballots that the tabulating machines were unable to read for a number of reasons. And that's one of the reasons it's taking longer this year, is because we are having to do an extraordinarily large number of duplicate ballots due to technical difficulties.
Tabulating in Pima County is expected to continue through the week. Official results will be certified by December 1st. Well, one of the most abnormally contentious races this season is the Secretary of State. Now, several candidates who questioned the results of the 2020 election are projected to win.
Yeah, those states would include Alabama, Indiana, and South Dakota. Here in Arizona, it is still too soon to call that race, though candidate Mark Finchem has said in the past he would not have certified that 2020 election. All right, we'll get back to politics in a little bit in the vote counting. Right now, we want to turn to a different kind of calculations and number crunching.
That's right. Kyler Diggs standing by with a look at our forecast.
Yeah, that's right. We've got some action in the skies as a cold front is headed our way. You can see it pretty clearly here on the satellite picture. There's the low pressure system to our north and a trailing cold front to the south of it. And along that front, we are seeing just a few light showers, mainly to the north and northwest of us. We might see a couple of sprinkles as this moves through southeastern Arizona tonight. But out ahead of that, some more gusty winds, still around 20-25 miles an hour in many locations. Some of the wind gusts are up around 30-35 miles an hour. We'll let you know the impacts of this cold front coming up in your forecast.
All right, Kyler, thank you. Well, a new fire station opened in Tucson today.
Yeah, after a year and a half of construction, let's get a first look at Tucson Fire Station 8. The new station on Prince, that's near Fairview, replaces the older building on West King. Chief Chuck Ryan says it's a big upgrade for a station that sees a lot of use.
It is the busiest firehouse in the city. It's also one of the busiest firehouses in the country. And so this represents an advancement for the city of Tucson and our firefighters and paramedics to put them in a modern facility that really has state-of-the-art health and safety provisions in it, as well as some amenities that makes a 24-hour worker's life a little bit more pleasant.
Well, right now, Proposition 310, which would create public safety funding through a tax hike, is actually losing on the ballot. Just to note, that proposition wouldn't have taken effect, wouldn't have affected Tucson Fire. It's just for rural fire districts. So far, about 60,000 more people have voted against the tax hike than for it. In our Operation Safe Roads report, El Tour de Tucson is just 10 days away now, and with more cyclists on the road training, experts are asking everyone to please be careful.
That's top of mind for one widow who lost her husband on southern Arizona roads. 9 on your side's Reina Preciado has more.
He was a hard worker. He took care of us. He took good care of us.
I'm here near A Mountain along the road used by many bikers. For James Ramsey, this was his daily route until he was killed on his way up earlier this year. Amanda Ramsey is grieving the loss of her husband, business partner, and father of her children.
The car that hit him was also in the bike lane, was riding in the bike lane with him and hit him from behind, and they kept driving.
She wants people to be more aware of their surroundings.
When you get behind the wheel and you see somebody or you think about reading your phone, you should think, my brother could be out walking his dog right now and I could accidentally run them over.
Ramsey was one of the 5 bike-related deaths reported this year. The city of Tucson has been working to improve bike safety with bike boulevards which connect riders to their destinations while limiting traffic. Benjamin Elias with Transportation and Mobility recommends bikers should plan their route, ride defensively, signal left or right, use bike lanes, and use lights when it's dark out. But he says safety is a two-way street.
Slow down, be a little bit more aware of your surroundings. When you actually slow down, your peripheral vision improves, so you're able to take in more, observe more around you.
Now he says their department is working on messages to prevent hit and runs, which was unfortunately the case for James Ramsey. Amanda Ramsey has a message for anyone put in that situation.
He laid there for a half hour before anybody called for him. And so I would just, don't be selfish,
Arizona law requires drivers to stay at the scene of a crash, provide reasonable assistance to the person injured, and notify police as soon as possible. In Tucson, Rainer Preciado, KGUN 9 on your side.
If you have something you want addressed on Southern Arizona roads, you can call the number on your screen or send us an email at saferoads@kgun9.com.
WNBA star Brittany Griner returning to the headlines.
Where she's being moved now by Russian officials and what the president had to say about it. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side.
We tell your stories because you matter to us. You're watching Pat Paris and Heidi Alaga, KGUN 9 on your side.
Attorneys for WNBA and Phoenix Mercury star Brittany Griner say she's being moved to a work camp in Russia.
In a press conference today, President Biden said that the White House is continuing to negotiate with Russia for a prisoner transfer.
My guess is, my hope is that now that the election is over, that Mr. Putin will be able to discuss with us and be willing to talk more seriously about prisoner exchange. That is my intention. My intention is to get her home.
Griner's representatives confirmed they do not know where she is at this time or her current condition.
A woman in Sierra Vista has been arrested for setting a fire, then shoplifting on the same day. Police say she set the fire at an apartment complex yesterday morning. Then, a few hours later, she was caught shoplifting at a Circle K. She's facing arson charges as well as charges for the theft.
Switching gears now, a little colder than the past few days.
Certainly a change out there, Kyler.
Yep, cooled off just a little bit today. Going to cool off even more overnight tonight. Here come the clouds in association with the cold front that we have passing through this evening. We'll tell you the impacts of that cold front coming up in your forecast when we return to KGUN 9 on your side.
Now, your first warning weather with Kyler Diggs.
Well, high temperatures across southern Arizona today managed to creep up a little bit higher than expected because the cold front it slowed down a little bit, so it allowed those temperatures to climb just a little bit higher. Really nice out there despite the wind. 75 degrees in Tucson, 72 in Phoenix. You could notice they were a little bit cooler to the west and northwest of us where the cold front arrived a little bit sooner. Still ahead of the front right now in Tucson, 70 degrees, but look at Marana, 58. That cold front is right on our doorstep. In fact, it's coming over the Tucson mountains as we speak. 68 degrees in Green Valley, 60 degrees in Phoenix, and 66 degrees in Ajo. So we got cooling temperatures through the evening. Now, normally we usually have that, but tonight it'll be just a little bit more pronounced. 41 degrees on the dew point, 35% humidity. There's the clouds coming in over the Tucson mountains. Might see a couple sprinkles here and there, but not a big deal as far as the rain goes. But the wind will start to settle down once the front passes through, and notice it will shift around and shift from southwest and then become northwesterly, and that's what's going to bring the cooler air in tonight. 58 degrees by 9 o'clock. Here it is on the radar and satellite picture. Big low pressure system out over Utah, and in association with that, we've got the cold front trailing to the south. There's the light showers along the cold front. It'll pass through here tonight, drop our temperatures back into the 30s and 40s, in many locations, including the Tucson metro area. We'll be dropping down into the mid to upper 40s, 32 degrees for Summer Haven, and then for tomorrow, definitely cooler behind the front. Most of us will stay in the 60s for highs tomorrow, but a really nice weekend is shaping up for us. Take a look at that. 70 on Friday, mid 70s for Saturday and Sunday. Now we will get off to a chilly start Friday morning, down to 39 degrees in Tucson. And as we take a look at Sierra Vista, some of those higher elevations, we'll see the overnight lows dipping into the mid to upper 30s as we finish the week. But again, a nice recovery on the weekend with highs in the mid 60s. And then for everybody going into the beginning of next week, we'll stay pretty nice for this time of the year. Those kind of warm afternoons with some chilly overnight lows and a little bit cooler by the middle of next week.
All in all, pretty nice forecast. Kyler, thank you. As Democrats are poised to lose control of the House, President Joe Biden is actually calling it a win.
But he says the country avoided that polls said would happen. You're watching KGUN 9 on your side. President Joe Biden taking the stage this afternoon to talk midterm results.
His tone was optimistic after a better than expected turnout for Democrats yesterday. He claims the country avoided a red wave, meaning a huge influx of newly elected Republicans. But the GOP is poised to claim control of the House of Representatives. The president says he's ready to work across the aisle.
Regardless of what the final tally in these elections show, and there's still some counting going on, I'm prepared to work with my Republican colleagues. The American people have made clear, I think, that they expect Republicans to be prepared to work with me as well.
If Democrats lose fewer than 28 seats in the House and 2 seats in the Senate, it will be a historic moment. Since World War II, the president's party has lost at least that many seats in their first midterm election.
Well, Pat, there's still a chance both the House and the Senate flip red. Let's go ahead and take a look at the balance of power when it comes to the U.S. Senate. Right now, there are 48 Democrat seats and 48 Republican seats, with 4 still undecided. Now, if those go 2 and 2, it'll really just be what we've had, where the vice president is the tiebreaker, and we know Vice President Kamala Harris is with the Democrat Party. Let's go to the U.S. House. You need 218 to have the majority in the U.S. House. There are still 27 undecided seats, and right now the Republican Party has 214 seats of those 218 that they need to get the majority. So we'll have to wait and see how these numbers and these seats all change, because it really could change who has power in what. Let's check in now with Kyler Diggs for a look at the forecast.
All right, Heidi, very interesting. And we got some interesting weather too. A cold front pushing across the area right now. We'll be right back to take another look at the 7-day when we return to KGUN 9 on your side.
El Tour de Tucson is back, and it's just 10 days away.
But a different El Tour related tradition is already complete. We're talking about Joe Pagic's huge El Tour murals. This year's theme is French, but you may remember his other paintings of desert animals riding bikes, the whale on the side of the old Bookman's building, and even paintings in some exhibits at the Desert Museum. You can find this new mural down at the Monica on Congress.
Yeah, and if you'd like to check out more of Joe Pagic's other works, we actually did an Absolutely Arizona piece on all the amazing murals in Tucson. You can find that at kgun9.com. Such a terrific and talented artist.
Yeah, beautiful stuff there. Here comes the cold front. Yeah, right through my throat. Still trying to get over this. Sorry, you guys. But it's coming through town right now.